see how many people know me or have seen my videos. Most of you. Right, who hasn't? Okay, well, get on YouTube because you'll see most of the stuff here, but it's much more in depth on YouTube. I've got 3 YouTube channels, Sri Lanka C, Mark Ceylon with a C, and Mark Ceylon with an S, and it's different videos on each channel.
I was going to ask you about that. Mark Ceylon with an S.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to copyright.
I'm going to jump about a bit now because I'm going to incorporate stuff that's been talked about, and then later on I'm going to be talking about the debt and how you can get out of the debts. The first thing I want to talk about is there is a PSYOP going on, and it's not the way you think it is. There's a PSYOP that says the Mandela effect isn't real. I can categorically tell you it is real. The PSYOP is saying that the Mandela effect is a PSYOP, and that's the actual PSYOP. Don't believe it. Go and check it out yourself. Things have changed, and they've changed quite dramatically. And just go and watch 5 or 6 videos. Loads of people's put them out there about the things. I've even put one out about the VW badge on the car. It was called the Mandela Effect and the VW badge. Simple, easy to find. Have a look at it. You'll see evidence where things have changed. I'm not going to go too much into it because you've got to come to the conclusion yourself of why and how they've changed. Talking about the councils, as was mentioned earlier, I'm loved by Nottingham City Council because I expose them all the time. But I refer to them as what they really are, which is Nottingham Criminal Cartel. And I believe that Leeds is a criminal cartel as well. Thank you. You may or may not know, but every council is a corporation. Did you know that?
Yeah.
If you don't, or didn't believe that, go to, again, I know it sounds like I'm plugging my YouTube channel, but if you go there and search for, I think it's Busted was the first title, and I put it out on another title, because I was in the county council with Mickey Summers. Now, Mickey was fighting the fact that he'd been raped as a child in council care. And he also remembered that I'd said that all councils are corporations. So what he did is, and this was on video, that's why I'm saying you have to go and see it there, he actually asked if the council was a corporation. And then in the background, off screen, because there's the camera's pointed there, and the barrister for the county council, Jeff Russell, you can actually hear him say, yeah. So there's evidence, there's proof, all the proof you want that the council is a corporation. They undergo corporate rules and regulations. They're there for us, but they're there for themselves, because all corporations are there for one thing and one thing alone, to make money for themselves. Nottingham City Council have just given into £60 million to make the Broadmoor shopping centre a little bit bigger and put a 9-screen cinema in there. That's great, but think how many houses you could have built with that £60 million and got the homeless people off the streets. When we did it last Christmas in Nottingham, there was about 30 set of homeless people arrived. Most of them got housed in the end, although the council said they weren't homeless, but they got housed. The actual homeless figure in Nottingham is around 400 at the moment and rising daily. One of the things that many don't seem to get is, how can you become homeless? And it is so easy. You lose your job. You've got a mortgage. You can't pay your mortgage. They come after you. 3 months non-payment, they come and take the house off you. You're then homeless. Why are you homeless? Because if you then go to the council and say, I've lost my house, can you house me? They will say, no, you've made yourself deliberately homeless. You didn't have money to pay your mortgage, so you made yourself deliberately homeless. What a crocker. Yeah, forgive me, because I do get a little bit built into what's going on. Because when you see the corruption that is going on, and it's nothing more than absolute corruption from the government, the councils, the police. I was speaking to someone I know, and they were talking about a friend of theirs was in the police. He was at an inspectorish level, and he was told, you won't go any higher unless you become a Freemason. Freemasons are the scourge of this planet. If you're a Freemason, and I'm not saying all, because those below level 3 haven't got a clue what's going on. They think it's just a good, funny thing that we get special deals because we've got a secret handshake and we stand funny. When you get above that, it becomes much more serious. I know people that, for reasons I can't mention, have told me the sort of things that they get up to above these levels. Now what happens is, the initiation ceremonies as you go up the levels get more perverted. And they're all videoed. So if you get to the point where you think, well actually, I'm not going to do what they say, I'm going to do what they want. They just let a video slip out of you doing something absolutely disgusting. And yes, children are involved in this. Babies are involved in what these dirty things get up to. First thing we need to get rid of is Freemasons. Now, got a question?
I'm normally very shy, but I feel compelled to say this. My father's a Freemason. He's actually been found guilty in a higher court on 19 specimen charges of paedophilia, and it's living in a church on top of it. He's a Freemason, and he got a D order to protect his name in the paper.
Yeah, they are. They look after themselves. I'm absolutely... There's nothing wrong, by the way, with looking after yourselves or your friends. That's a good thing. But when you're putting other people, you're using them as fodder, that's when it's wrong. Like Jason said, we need to come together. We are very, very close to the end of this now. I think I wouldn't give it much more than 6 months before the whole system comes crashing down. And some are saying, well, if it comes crashing down, it's going to be chaos. No. We're living in chaos. We are controlled beyond belief. Red lights, green lights, amber lights, that's all controlled. There was a town in Germany, I think it was. They turned all the light cameras off, or the red and all that. Everything flowed smoothly. I don't know what it's like up here, but down in Nottingham, they have this idea of put roundabouts. Roundabouts, fantastic ideas. Then, after a while, they go, oh, well, this is working too well, let's put lights on it as well. It never works properly after that. And that's by design. It's designed to frustrate us, annoy us, anger. Coming up the motorway, mile upon mile of road work. No one inside. What it was, they're putting this smart motorway thing, the purple tube up the centre of the motorway. And that is so they can charge you for every mile that you travel on the motorway. That's all that's, well, not quite all that's about. You'll see that they also lower the speed limit. What the plan is, this smart motorway, as well as charging you for every foot you step down it, it's also going to have a signal that you can put out to your car so that your car can't go any faster than they want you to. Most don't know this. It's all about control. I'm sure some of you that drive have seen the thing where insurance companies are now saying, we'll give you a better price if you have this device fitted in your car so it monitors how you're driving. The next step from that is it controls how you're driving. Right, now that's my little rant over about that sort of thing. I suppose I can talk about get out of debt. If you've not been on the site, go on it, have a look around. It is absolutely massive. Last time I checked, there was over 85,000 members. It grows every day, more people coming. And the most common thing that we get is, I wish I'd found this site years ago. And I said it the same when I first found it, because the information on there is so good. It sounds too good to be true, and for a lot of people, they go, can't work, no, it can't. I'm too clever if this sort of thing was going on. I'd know it. And that's the ego of ourselves saying, we're too clever. Well, we're not that clever because we've been scammed, as becomes obvious when you look into the sort of the way they're destroying this country at the moment. So, how does it work? The first thing is you've got to realise they have a little carrot that they dangle in front of your eyes all day long. And that's called your credit rating. Because if you're a good slave, you'll have a good credit rating, which means you pay your bills and debts and all that sort of thing. And if you don't, then it goes down and you can't get credit. So if you're still one of these that want that good credit rating, you're still trapped in the system. Until you realise it is just there to control you, you will remain trapped in the system. So, what do we do on Good F? Well, we've got template letters that you can use. And what I would suggest is you go on there, if you've not been on there, go on there, read the success stories. Because people are posting them, I say people, I hate using that term now, you know what it really means, but others posting them all the time, explaining, well, when I first heard about this site, I thought, sounds too good to be true, it must be a scam. And then after actually trying it, you can see the way they write changes from fear to power. They retake the power back when they lose the fear. And they lose the fear because they realise the whole system is a scam. Now, some say the system's not working very well. I absolutely disagree. The system is working exactly the way it's supposed to. It's working to keep you all in debt, because if you're worried about where your next meal's coming from, or your money to buy your next meal coming from, you're not going to be too concerned about checking out what the criminal at Parliament are up to. And they are nothing but criminal, treasonous traitors to humanity. Like we're saying, not everyone, there are some good. I hope there are some good in that place there. The system's set up to control them. This is why they have a whip. Because they're slaves as well. In fact, they're probably more slaves than we are. We've become aware of what's going on and have started saying, I'm not putting up with this anymore. The template letters, again, I do get distracted and drift off on different things. That's just the way I do things, because things pop in my head and I like to get them out, the things in my head. So, she got it. Right, so the template letters. What we simply do is, the template letters, letter one, you send off. If you've got a debt, with a debt collector is the easiest one to deal with, because under the Bills of Exchange Act, they bought that debt. And so, if I can explain it like this, if Jason owes me a £5, and I think, well, I'm never going to get back off Jason because he's just never got no money. So I go to Bob. I go to Bob and say, Bob, give us £5, and you can get the debt up, get money off Jason. And he goes, yeah, okay, gives me a £5, and goes to get the debt off Jason. There's no agreement between Jason and Bob. By the way, there's no Bob in here or anything. There's no agreement between them that Jason's got to pay him back. And that's exactly the same with debt collectors. There's no agreement between you that says you have to pay them back. Now, they will say they've purchased all the rights to your debt. Great. So you bought a debt. You should have come to me and see if I was going to pay you afterwards. But since you didn't, you can go and do one. So we ask in letter one, how much? We ask a number of questions. One of them, now some of you may or may not have heard of these things I'm going to mention here, is a deed of assignment. Now, I can tell you in the 7 or 8 years I've been doing this on Get Out of Debt Free, no one has ever had the deed of assignment sent to them, or the novation agreement. Now, a deed of assignment is where that debt collector buys it from Jason's bank and says, yeah, okay, this deed, so I'm assigning all my rights and privileges to you, including the amount it's paying and how much I'm going to pay you, which is generally 10% of the debt, or less. So if you owe £1,000, they're buying it for 100, then they chase you for the whole £1,000. So it's a win-win situation. The banks, they love it, absolutely. Because some say, well, the banks are losing. No. The banks are getting the £100, the 10% for the original £1,000 debt. They're getting that anyway. Every loan is insured, so they're getting the full amount back anyway, and whatever you paid them. So the banks are laughing, literally, all the way to the bank. Now, the novation agreement. I've never seen it posted anywhere. I don't think anybody has ever had a copy of a novation agreement. Now, this is where it might become a little bit more self-explanatory as to what I'm talking about if you're not keeping up, because I do tend to talk quite fast sometimes. A novation agreement is a tri-party agreement. Now, I'm sure we all know what tri is. I'm giving you a hint just in case. So, who's it between then? Well, it's between Jason's bank, the debt collector, who seems we're in Leeds, we'll call Lau, and anyone else? apart from those that know, who is the third person involved in this tri-party agreement?
You.
Exactly. The one who took the loan, allegedly took the loan in the first place. Have they ever come to you and says, oh, we're selling the loan on, so we need your signature on this tri-party agreement to make it all legitimate and above board? No. Because it's a scam. Why is it a scam? For the same reason, every mortgage is a scam. Now, this has even been put out on the Bank of England website. They have actually said how money is created. They say they don't create money, they create credit. And they create that credit off your signature. When you sign that agreement saying, I agree to pay, I'm taking this £10,000 loan and I agree to pay it back at so much a month and the interest, and I'll pay all that back. One of the things you've got to ask yourself is, why is it an agreement? Agreement is like me saying, Jason agreed to pay me that £5 back and never did. Well, yes. What is it? It's an agreement. It doesn't mean nothing. Why not use a contract? Because a contract is legally binding. So why do you think they don't use a contract? The reason is they would have to be honest with you about where the money comes from. So if you ever had a loan for whatever amount of money, and you've gone to the bank, for instance, and they said, yeah, there you go, beep, 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 yeah, £10,000 in your account. So where did that come from? Oh, I just tapped the buttons here and it appeared in your account. Yeah, but where did the actual money come from? I didn't see you send a cyclist off to get the money from the Bank of England, so where did it come from? Quite simply, they just pressed the keys and it appeared in your account. Because when you signed that agreement, that gave the banks access to your bond. If you don't understand that you are all bonded, well, look into it, because you are all bonded, and you are bonded slaves. The bond is your birth certificate. When that was created, and your parents unknowingly gave you away to the state, this is why, if you have kids, and they say you haven't treated them well, they can come and take them, because they're not your kids, they're the state's kids. You gave ownership. And the way I'll explain this, which most people will get if they didn't know that, if you park your car somewhere that the council say, oh, you can't park there, and they come along, take that, pick it up with one of these pick-up things, put it on the back of the lorry and take it away, that's theft. Why don't they get done for theft? Because you don't own your car. You registered it with the DVLA. When you register anything, you give ownership over to whoever you're registering for it. This is why on the V5, you are the registered keeper. There's been many people that's put FOIs into the DVLA, and they will admit, that they'll say they're not the owner, but they'll admit that you're just the registered keeper. So, when you're registering anything, you're giving ownership away. Getting back to we send letter 1 off. And again, it asks them to provide bits of it's all downloadable free on Get Out of Debt Free. Just go on there, get letters, download them. Now, generally, we say send them off 10 days apart. So you send letter 1. Now, this is the point where I do wish everyone would watch these videos because I explain what to do. You send letter 1 off. 9 times out of 10, they won't even respond to you. This is good. Do you know why? Because there's a maxim in law which says silence is consent. So if they don't answer your letter, they're agreeing with everything you've said. That's great. They don't answer you. Brilliant. 10 days later, you send letter 2 off. Now, this 10 day, it isn't, oh no, it's 11 days now, I missed it. What do I do? 10 days with, I actually forgot to send one for 6 weeks, and when I realised I'd forgot to send it, I sent it off. And I just put that down to I was being extra kind to them and giving them an extra long period of time to get that letter.
I dragged one out for 2 years and 11 months, and I still got it zeroed.
But what I will say, if you try, I'm not saying do it, absolutely not. I'm saying you look into it. But when you do, and you try it, you will be empowering yourself. You'll realise you're not the helpless little slave that they want you to believe you are. So you send letter 2 off, reply or not reply, doesn't matter. Wait 10 days, send letter 3 off. After that, they're in what's known as a tacit agreement, because I guarantee you they will not send you what you're asking for. Now, here's where some get a little bit lost. I sent letter 1 off and they sent me a reply. And it says this: can you give me some help, advice, tell me what to do? Right, what did you ask for in letter 1? Go and read it. Okay, I asked for this, this, this and this. Have they sent that to you? No, they just sent a letter saying blah, 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 which is effectively all they say. Blah, blah, blah. Because they're trying to confuse you. If they do reply, it's because they're testing you to see how much you know about the system. And if you panic, get back on the forum, say, I've not watched that video that Mark put out. I know he said I should because it tells me everything what to do, but, you know, what should I do? Continue the process. Wait 10 days from sending letter 1, send letter 2. I sent letter 2, I got another reply, they're saying blah, 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 blah. Right? Have they sent what you asked for? No. Then class it as a non-response. If I sent Jason to the bar for a pint of lager, and he'd come back with a pint of bitter, well, that's not what I wanted. Jason, get back to the bar, get a lager. That's the way you do things. So, if they don't give you what you're asked for, it's a non-response. 10 days after letter 2, send letter 3. Now, years back, I did have some fun with this, because it does become very empowering, and you can feel yourself literally lifting, rising your energies, your chakras, whatever you want to call it, you do feel a rise. And what happened is, I'm talking about 5, 6 years ago, 7 maybe, when I was just getting into it myself and didn't fully know all the stuff that I know now anyway. But I knew that all they were doing was sending threatening letters to me. You know, I'm going to take you to court, blah, blah, blah. So, I've been looking into it, and apparently you can copyright your name, which I thought, well, that's an interesting concept. So I did that. And this debt collector sent me a letter saying they weren't going to pay my bill. Now, nobody has been paid for the bills. This isn't about making money, this is about getting them to leave you alone. But I mention this because it's very interesting, the response. They sent me back saying they weren't going to pay my bill. I think it was for £7,000 at the time. Because they send you things saying, oh, because you've done this, we're billing you that. Well, you can turn the tables and do exactly the same back. And that's what I did. I sent a bill for £7,000. This was a solicitor, by the way. And I got a letter back from the solicitor saying, we're not going to pay this and we're going to pursue this further. Now, because of the bill I'd sent him, it actually had on it that my name was copyrighted and it required payment for use. And they'd sent it back to my name again. So, I then immediately sent another bill out. Because they'd used my name twice, I sent the bill for £2,009,000. £1 million for each time they used my name. And